an idea of what everyone is doing, can you just drop your name or probably your industries, just so I have an idea of where our audience? Yeah. Please, can you just drop in the chat box just for 2 minutes? Drop in the chat box what you do. If you're a student, drop in the chat box. If you are a professional, what do you do? Just want to have an idea of the people we are talking to today. Awesome. It's interesting to see that a lot of people are working within the data science space already. So that makes this very easy. All right, I'm still waiting. Let's just, this is more like an overview, like a high level kind of discussion. So I just want to lead the discussion. Everybody's going to be sharing. There's going to be time where you'll be allowed to share your experience. Awesome, Fatima, data scientist in training. All right, 1 more minute, and then we start our conversation. Thank you, Emmanuel. You code in Python with a focus on data science. That's very good. Senior direct sales consultant at African Bank. Awesome. All right, so like I said, this is just going to be a high-level discussion, no technical details. All right, we just want to have a chat, just to have a conversation on how we have seen how data science is being used within the fintech space. And for those who are experienced here, feel free to raise your hand or chime in at any time and share your experience. All right, so let's just get to it. So once again, let me share my screen. I don't have any presentations, just so that we don't have a dark screen. Just give me a second. Please let me know when you can see my screen. Okay. All right. I believe you can all see my screen now. So like I said, we just want to have a chat on around how data science is being applied within the fintech space. I believe everybody on this call understand what the fintech is all about. All right. So I am happy because we have a lot of people here who are already working within the financial space. We have people working in the bank. We have people who are working with financial consulting businesses. So we know what it means to when you add technology to your traditional businesses like bank and other financial services. All right, so let's just get to it. So from here, I'll be sharing my experience. I'll be talking based on what I've done in the past and what we are currently working on. All right, so then at some point I will chime in and then ask people to share their experience, and then we can continue from there. So like you can see, my name is Mayo. I currently work as a data scientist with FloraWave. For those that don't know FloraWave, I don't think anybody will be on this call. And one way or the other, you must have heard about FloraWave, all right? But for the sake of those that don't, all right, so FloraWave is a payment company. We are a payment infrastructure company, so we provide payment infrastructure for other businesses, and we also provide any form of payment processing, all right, for users and businesses across Africa. And then, so summarily, we are that company that wants to be there wherever payment is being made in Africa. Okay, so wherever payment is being made in Africa, we want to be there. So we are, it's exciting because we are solving a problem that is so, dear to everyone's heart. We know what it means when you cannot process your payment, and when you can't get your money, you can't move your money conveniently. So that is the space we are working, and it's exciting. All right. So so let's just get to one thing I want to say is this. All right. I am a self-taught data scientist. So I always want to put this first so that everybody can know. So that one way it would be like an encouragement for people who want to break into the space. And at the same time, just to show that, so everybody is evolving, right? Is an ever evolving space. So everybody keep on learning together. We keep on collaborating so that we can get better at the end of the day. All right. So I'm a self-taught data scientist. I do not have a I didn't have a BSc or an MSc in data science, even though I have a background in engineering, but that is not the case. All right. And I believe everybody can do this because it is possible, right? We have a lot of information out there. We have a lot of trainings. We have a lot of things that you can get your hands on, and then you get equipped with some of the skills that are necessary to help you break into the space. All right. So that being said, so let's just get into it. So we know what the fintech is all about. All right. Fintech is all about adding technology to existing financial services that we have. Traditionally, you and I will carry our cashes, and whatever it is that we have in form of fiat money. All right. We take it to the bank, and sorry, if you have questions, please feel free to drop in the chat box, or you feel free to just raise your hand, and then I'll take it from there. All right. So we normally take our fiat money to the bank for deposit, for withdrawals, and all of those things. All right. But we know what has happened with the advent of technology. All right. Technology has helped us to be able to do things at the convenience of our homes at an easier way than we normally do, like in the 90s or early 2000s. All right. So adding technology to the financial space is what we see today in the area of fintech. Now, but before we get into much details about fintech, we need to understand that the technology that is being used in fintech today, all right, is not just technology that was invented. It has been something that has been in existence before, from the traditional computer science and all of those other concepts we know already. All right, it's just that this technology has been tweaked in such a way that it can help us solve more problems within the financial space. Okay. So, but today we are not going to be talking about other areas of fintech. We are focused on how data science is applied within the fintech space. So the first thing that comes to our mind is, what is data science? Or why should we even be interested in data science? All right. So like I said, this is an high level kind of discussion. All right. So that's why I just want to run through some concepts, and then we start our conversation. All right. So why should we be interested in data science? All right. From experience, or from what we can see around us, every day we are exposed to a lot of data. Now, the conversation I'm having with you right here on Zoom, what we are doing right now is, one way or the other, is involved with churning out of data. There's a lot of data going in and out of this conversation we are having right here on Zoom. There's a lot of communication happening over networks. All right. Some of you are there in Nairobi, some of you are there in the US, some of you are there in Europe, and then you can hear me clearly. All right. Now there's a lot of data that is being transferred. All right. And this data is not something that we can't get our hands on. It's being stored somewhere. All right. So that means every day we have access to data. All right. Another good example is, for example, when you say, okay, I want to eat by 8 a.m. my breakfast, and then by 12 p.m. I want to have my lunch, and then by 6 p.m. I want to have my my dinner. All right, that is data. All right, you might not know how this is being stored, but somehow you are working with data. So just to kind of summarize, data is everywhere. All right. So one of the reasons why everybody is talking about data is because of the availability of data. Everyone, one way or the other, whether formal or informal, we are working with data. Okay. So and the reason why business people like the fintechs and other businesses are interested in data is once you are able, just imagine, for example, now you are able to capture when Maiwa eats in the morning, in the afternoon, and the evening. All right. So what happened if that changes over time? Maybe I stop eating from 8 a.m. I started eating by 10 a.m. All right. If you want to study my behavior, all right, around eating, how will you know when my behavior has changed? All right. That is a whole lot of data. So one way for businesses to understand the patterns, all right, around their business or around how their business is doing, maybe historically or even in the foreseeable future, one way to do that is to what? Have access to data. And our businesses have this data, the fintechs have this data, and that is why everybody is talking about what? Data. The second reason why everybody is talking about data is because of the huge amount of computing we have. Back in the 90s and the 80s, we don't have this amount of compute we have now. Back in the days where systems run on CPU, and then there is so much stress in processing data, it's difficult to process huge amount of data. But in the advent of GPUs, all right, when GPUs came into the market, people saw how easy you can process huge amounts of data. And so because of that, people begin to, talk about data science. And then the third thing I just want to make mention about data science is the advent of algorithms. All right, we have new algorithms that can help us to work, that can help us to process this data. So it is not enough to just have compute. You now need algorithms. You now need process. You now need instruction in forms of code. All right, to help you process this data the way you want it. So these three major things get everybody excited about data science, and it's interesting that every sector, every industry is getting involved, including the fintech. All right. So the next thing I want us to touch on is the adoption. All right, the adoption rate. I can tell you that one of the sorry, I might not be able to quote statistics here. So, like I said, it's a high level conversation. So, but the statistics are there, the numbers are there. You can check them out. All right. So, I think sometimes in 2019 or 2018 thereabout, Microsoft and EY conducted a research leveraging about 112 companies within Africa and Middle East. And then they were asking C-level officers and also team leads on this question, the adoption of data science, AI, and machine learning, how companies are adopting these these concepts. All right. And it's interesting to see that a lot of companies are already adopting it. For example, a good industry that is adopting this is the financial space, the banks. All right. The banks are adopting this concept, the manufacturing, and all of those things. So there's a high adoption rate. It's still growing. All right. In fact, as a matter of fact, for people that are getting into machine learning and AI, you are still an early adopter. Okay. So, sorry, do you want to say something? Sorry, I can't see my. Do you want to say something? Okay. All right. So there's high adoption rates. All right. But so it's a lot of companies are beginning to get involved in data science, manufacturing, logistics, and a lot of healthcare, and a lot of all these industries are getting involved in data science. All right. So now to our main topic of the day. I needed to create this background so that everybody can be on the same page. All right. So data science within the fintech space. Now, one thing we already know what fintech is all about. It's all about adding technology to the traditional financial services. All right. So originally, if you want to apply for a loan, what it means is that you need to appear in a physical bank or in any credit company, physical infrastructure, and then apply for a loan. But now we've seen a lot of solutions like if you're in Nigeria, everybody has heard about Red Money, Fair Money, and Carbon and all those credit companies. So it means what they have done is simply adding technology to the existing processes. All right. So what they did is, okay, they built a robust system in such a way that instead of having to come, all right, instead of having to investigate whether you are a good customer or you're a bad customer, they have a way of just of working or building a model that is able to do that. All right, in an application. All right. So for example, you want to get a loan. What you just need to do today is to download the Carbon app and then apply for a loan. All right. If you are not qualified, you will get a notification that you're not qualified. All right. So this is one way in which fintechs are using data science today. So, and there's a model behind that. There's a model behind saying you are qualified, you are not qualified. There's a model saying this is the person that should be given money because this person has the probability of paying back. All right. So there's a model behind that. And that is all data science. That is what data is. That is what the data of the customer's data is being used for. Another very good, important aspect of data science within the fintech space, I mean, this can be seen in other businesses, is I think it's even the first stage. For me, if you ask me, I think one of the first stage of every business when they are going into, when they are adopting data science is to do something we call customer segmentation. All right. Customer segmentation is the process in which you put your customers into clusters. All right. So as a business owner or as a business, you want to know the kind of customers you have. You want to know customers' preferences. You want to know customers' behavior. For example, for a bank, you are interested in customers that are salary earners. You want to know customers that are salary earners. You know customers that at a particular day of the month, a particular amount of money or some money always come into the account. All right. And then maybe you want to know high earners, you want to know low earners, you want to know middle earners, middle class earners, and all those things. You want to look for a way to classify your customers. Why? The reason being that you don't want to waste so much money advertising a particular product that is not, that will not really interest a customer. Say, for example, we have different type of cards, different type of electronic cards, ATM cards. Now, credit card and debit card, that's what I'm talking about. So now, you don't want to advertise a card that is needed for, let's say, let's say a card that is needed for foreign payment for a low earner that has maybe the total balance for a year is at a particular limit. They've never received money in other currencies before. It's always in their local currencies. You don't want to waste your money to advertise or recommend such product for them. So, but if you have clusters, if you have segments within your organization, all right, that helps you to put this customer into buckets, you're able to target customer based on their preferences. All right. So this is what customer segmentation will do for you. And I can tell you that there had been a lot of great and very interesting machine learning algorithm that is doing very well within this space. Help you to look into your data. It doesn't matter the amount of data you are sitting on. The algorithm is able to look into data and then able to find out patterns and then group customers into clusters. All right. So this is one aspect of fintech that is very interesting. Another aspect that I want to touch on briefly before we continue is I think this is also relevant to other businesses. It's something we call customer lifetime value. All right. So for a business, all right, for a fintech, you want to know how much a merchant or a customer is able to bring to your business, maybe on a monthly basis or on a yearly basis. All right. You know why? It still boils to the fact that you want to know the kind of customer you are dealing with so that you can know how to You can know how to relate with your customers. You can know how to, engage your customers. So customer lifetime value is a very interesting model, or let me say concept that fintechs are beginning to take advantage of. It helps fintech to focus on a lot of to pay more attention to some customers, and then, because for example, if a customer brings, if you're a business and a customer brings about almost 50% of your monthly revenue, you want to pay more attention to such customer. All right, you want to make sure that whatever is happening to this customer, you are aware of it. You want to know whether they are getting good services. You want to know whether they are getting the best treatment. All right. So customer lifetime value is another model, or is another concept. Sorry, please, if you're not talking, or if you're not asking question, just try and as much as possible to mute yourself. All right, so thank you. So customer lifetime value is another important concept, machine learning or data science concept that the fintechs are taking advantage of. All right. Another concept I want to introduce is the fintech space. I mean, this is relevant to other businesses too. All right. For example, customer churn. All right. So what is the of customer churn? All right. As a business, you're always interested. For example, as a business that offers some kind of financial services, you are aware that you have competitors. All right. For example, we have a lot of credit companies out there today. All right. That are offering the same service. All right. They give loans to customers. All right. So with almost similar interest rate and a lot of other things. So the competition is actually very high. But how do you keep your customers? What do you do so that you don't lose your customers to other competitors? So one thing that fintechs are doing right now is they are beginning to incorporate customer churn models. All right. And that is the model that say, hey, this customer will likely leave us. In fact, the concept is getting so interesting that there are models that can tell you that at so time, or let me say at so number of months, this customer will leave us. All right. So you want to be ahead of the game. You want to know customers that will likely leave you. You want to check those customers and say, okay, are this customer worth pursuing? Should we spend our money to pursue this customer? Should we, for example, there are customers that, they bring a lot of revenue in for you. So you want to say, okay, for these customers, if they are showing tendencies or if they are showing probabilities of leaving, what you can do is you can offer them maybe a particular offering that is different from every other businesses. You can give them percentage cuts, just to keep them. All right. And then there are some customers that that it is even better for them to leave. All right, because it's even more expensive to keep them, all right, than to let them go. So it's better they go. So this is what customer churn model will help you to achieve. All right. So there's a lot of machine learning models and data science concepts that a lot of companies, especially the fintech, are adopting right now. All right. The last one I want to just touch on is the fraud. All right. Everybody knows that when you are talking about money, when you are dealing with money, there's always a high tendency that you will have people that want to, involve in fraud. For example, some people steal a lot of customers' credit details and then just to take their money. All right. So they have to be measures put in place. All right. Traditionally, there are measures put in place. There's a lot of compliance and policies that companies are putting in place just to ensure that this doesn't happen. But that whether these are put in place or not, you still have a lot of these issues coming up. All right. So one thing that fintechs are doing right now is they are engaging, they are leveraging machine learning. All right, machine learning to do a lot of work on fraud detection. All right, based on historical records, we have, for example, a business is saying, okay, we have data of customers that have complained in the past that this is what, one way or the other, maybe their credit cards were taken, and then their money their monies were withdrawn from their account, and all of those things. So the customer, the fintech is able to leverage on this kind of data to predict, all right, fraud in a business. So there's a lot of use cases. Like I said, this list is not exhaustive. That is one thing. That's the reason why I actually want to hear from you guys, for those that are working within the financial space, and for those that are just looking to break into the space. I think this is an avenue for you to also learn. And for those people that are already working, maybe not in financial space right now, there are some of these concepts that are still relevant to your businesses. For example, customer churn. If you are a business that provides one services or the other to customers, you likely want to know whether your customers want to leave you or not. If you're a business that whatever business you operate, you want to know the kind of customer you are dealing with. You want to have a segment, you want to have a cluster of customer. So that is it. So this list is not exhaustive. There's a lot of use case being developed every day that leverages data, all right, to help solve problem within the fintech space. Now, the next thing I want us to just touch about is how to be part of this data science boom. But before then, I just want to, I want to have comments. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can see everybody. I just want I want to hear experiences. Let me know if you have worked on a customer on any of these concepts before. Just before we continue, let me know if you have worked, if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have ideas you want to share, please feel free to unmute and just let us know what you want to say. Let us see how we can help. I can see someone who said he or she was working in the bank. Sorry, I just love to engage people. I don't want to be the only one talking. Okay, I think he's the person working as a senior direct sales consultant at African Bank. Sorry, can you just share one or two experience, like your encounter with data, or have you ever used any of the concepts we have just mentioned just now? I think I don't know. I'm sorry, Pam. Hello? I don't know how to. Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you.
Yes, Mayowa. Okay, yes, my name is Katlego. Okay. Yes, I'm currently working at African Bank as a senior direct sales consultant. So in terms of the concepts that you have touched, I've never worked with anything like that, but I will tell you guys what I'm doing currently, right? As a consultant. So at African Bank, we do have different products like loans, credit cards, funeral covers. So as a senior consultant, I sell all the products of the bank. So what we do, if a client is interested, in checking whether they can qualify for a loan, we do a check on our system whether they do qualify. Can you hear me?
Interesting.
Yes, but in terms of the system that we use, I'm not fully equipped with them, so that's why I'm saying I'm working as a sales consultant. But the reason why, yes, I'm interested in data science. So I just want to know what goes, in the background, because there is something that we call a credit reference check. So normally, like you were saying, you touched a point whereby it's not everyone that will qualify for a loan or a credit card, right? We do some background checks. There is something that we call a credit reference check, whereby we get the information of the client from the credit bureau with regards to the accounts that they're currently paying. So if the client pays his or her accounts very well, they will qualify. They will qualify for a loan. And then those ones that do have a bad credit, they wouldn't qualify. So my interest in data science currently is I just want to know what happens. How do we, how can we, there is another term that you use, clustering. How can we cluster our clients to make sure that we target the right people? Because I think that's one of the challenges that we're facing as a business, whereby in terms of calling clients, we call everyone without, making sure that we cluster them. So that's why, yeah, I have interest in data science. I just want to know what happens in the background, and then how can I, help the bank, to become one of the best banks, in SA.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you
that's what
very
I
much.
can
I
say for
really
now.
appreciate. Think that's a very good point. And if you see on the slide I just showed, the last point, the last outline there is how do we take part of this data science boom? All right. So yeah, I'm going to touch on that, on what you need to do. All right.
Okay.
Any other comments just before we continue? Any other comment? Any experience? I mean, let me know what you are doing. Let me know what you are working on.
Hi, Mr. Mayua.
Hi, Percy.
Yeah, to everyone else. So I once intend with just to add on the topic and also what Katlego touched on. So I once intend for Netbank, where we were using customer data to sort of get the important information about the customers. So the idea was to classify them into certain groups that can be regarded as people that can afford to be given loans, just to measure to have like a machine learning algorithm that can cluster people in that manner so that they can sort of use that to weigh whether they should give someone a loan or not. So those guys also had this concept. I mean, it's not a concept. It was already in application that they built before, where they had this tool from their app, which was quite good. You can sort of just go from your banking app and you can see already the amount of loan that you qualify for. You can simply get that money from their app. So it's more like a quick loan application because they have information on you. They have all the data from your account. They know how much you earn. They know how much you spend in a month, how much you leave in your account, literally your portfolio. So from machine learning, using your data, they can simply use that data to quickly give you a loan from your app. So they had something like that, which was quite great, I would like to say.
Thank you very much, Percy. Thank you. I think that has really dealt with the question that Katleho asked. So I think I will still touch on it, but I just want to know if there's still any other comments I want to come in before we continue.
There's a question in chat. There's a chat question from Fatima in the chat.
Okay. All right. So please drop your questions in the chat box. If you have any question, this is a more of a specific question. What type of technologies platform do you use most? Oh, okay. Fatima, so every company, all right, has their own different technology stack, all right, that is being used, all right. And I tell you that there are a lot of technologies that have been proven over the years to be reliable, whether you are working on-prem or in the cloud. All right, there are technologies that have been proven to be reliable. All right. So now one thing I want to say about tools, I'm always skeptical about tools. Why? Because tools, every day we have tools that are coming out, new tools that are coming out. One thing I just want to say is that once you have a grasp of the basics, it's very easy for you to switch to whatever tools that you want to use. For example, and I will cite a very good example. Everybody is talking about Spark. I know you might have heard about Spark and all those big data technologies. I would say it's that one thing that is very important is that for somebody that doesn't have a good background in Python, you might find it very difficult to work with Spark. For somebody that doesn't have a good grasp of SQL, might find it difficult to work with Spark. All right. So I think for technologies and platforms that are being used, it's not about the platform, it's not about the tools, it's about the basics, about having the right foundations. All right. So for example, there are people that leveraging Microsoft stacks. All right. They build from using Microsoft Server. All right. They have their databases in Microsoft SQL Server. When you are working with enterprise environments, you are dealing with data in rows and columns. I mean, for example, in a bank, it's normal for a bank to have their data in rows and columns. All right, they have a database that stores records of customers, that stores how transactions are being carried out on a daily basis. All right, so we have a lot of databases, and one thing we have noticed is that we have a lot of businesses that are beginning to migrate their on-prem data warehouse. All right, that is data centers that are found on the physical infrastructure to the cloud. We've heard about Microsoft Azure, AWS, Google Cloud Platform, and a lot of others. And these platforms are also making available tools that you can use to make your work easier. All right. So we've heard about Databricks and a lot of other things. So one thing is I can mention a whole lot of tools. All right. But I don't want you to, I don't know. I don't know whether you're a beginner or you are within the space. If you're a professional, you understand what I'm saying, that it is not always about the tool. All right. It's about knowing what you want to do and how to get the job done. All right. So most of the time, it might be SQL that will get the job done, not necessarily Python. Okay. So it's important for you to know what you need per time. All right. So I think that answer, I don't know whether that answers your question, Fatima. Can you just drop on the chat box or mute your mic and let me know whether that answers your question? Fatima, are you there? Awesome. Okay, so that's just, so personally, I don't want anybody here on this call. I mean, that would be my advice. I mean, don't focus on the tools. All right. You have to just understand what you need. You need to understand the problem you are solving and what is the easiest tool. I mean, what is the easiest way to solve your problem? Then the tool will come into the picture. All right. So the last thing I'm going to touch on is how to get involved, right? You saw that in my slide, how to get involved. Let me share my screen again. Okay, how do you get involved? That's what I mean there. So everybody has been talking about data science. Everybody has been talking about there's some people who believe that there's a hype around data science now. Some people believe that this hype is still going to, it's a bubble, it's still going to burst. Everybody's going to be all right at the end of the day. But no, one thing I just want you to know is that I can't tell you that this is what is going to happen for the next 20 years. But what I can tell you is that whatever adds value to business, all right, whatever brings about return on investment will always be around for a very long time. And data science is something that is helping people to solve problems. And I can assure you that it will be here with us for a very long time. All right. So one way you can be part of this is number one thing is this is something that anybody can pick up. All right. But one thing that sustains anybody in this space is growth mindset. All right. Growth mindset. Number one thing, I know you are expecting me to just mention maybe a website or a particular program you can just jump on and start learning data science. But no, that is not. One thing I need you to do first is to have a growth mindset. That means you must always be willing to learn new things. Is an ever-evolving space. All right. This is not what data used to be in the last 5 years. And I can tell you, this is not what we'll be having in the next 10 years. So you must have this growth mindset. You must always be ready to learn. You must be willing to learn. You must be willing to collaborate with others. All right. So that's the first thing. And that drives your passion. So when you have a growth mindset, it drives your passion for a particular thing. So you must have growth mindset. And then one thing that I didn't touch on, why? Because I said this is a high level. I hope one of these days we'll have the opportunity to really go into technical details, is that data science is a very huge area, all right, that encompasses a lot of disciplines. We have people we have domain expertise. We have people with a math background. we have people with statistics, we have people with software development background, and everybody comes together to work on the data science problem. All right. So it's a very huge space. All right. So don't just see it as something that is, so that means you must have these, you must have these technical ability. You must be able to, you don't necessarily need to go back to school to have an MSc in statistics or MSc in computer science. There are a lot of things you can do to get started. And I think that is one thing that Gradient Boost is all about. All right, Gradient Boost is all about churning out talent that have been built in the space, within the space of data science. So I think that's one thing that Gradient Boost is all about. So one thing you can do is you need to have a growth mindset. You need to have a mind that collaborates. You need to be able to continue to learn on your own. Like I said, I'm a self-taught data scientist, and I always say it wherever I go that I didn't have any formal education, like a background in statistics or mathematics. My background is in engineering, and I just fell in love with the use of Python, and here I am today. All right. So one thing that is important is that you must always learn. You must always have the habit of learning, and then find platforms, maybe like Gradient Boost, and then to learn from. All right. So it's not just about, there's a lot of courses here and there. And one thing that I always tell people, and I don't like to be formal about it, is that you need to be good at making research. All right. The Google is there, make research. All right. Just type on Google whatever you want, and then you see a lot of things come out. But at the same time, it is always good if you're able to find a platform that is able to tailor your learning, give you a structure to follow. All right. And that will really help. So this is one way you can be part of it. And then the last thing is that as you're getting yourself involved in learning and learning new concepts, don't forget to immediately kick the ground running. Get involved. Get problem. Look for a particular problem to solve. All right. And then sorry, can you hear me? Okay. So so you need to get involved. You need to find a problem you can solve, and then get the practical experience. It's not just about taking courses online and all of that. You need to get practical experience. This is one thing that will help you to learn faster. So I think this is something that is very interesting. So right now, if you have any question, just drop your question on the chat box or unmute your mic and talk. Emmanuel, if you have, I don't know whether you have any contribution at this stage.
Not from my side. Any questions from anyone?
Any question? So let me ask, how many people want to really learn data science? Like, let me know, are you already learning? Let me know what you are learning right now. Maybe I can, awesome. I know a lot of people want to learn data science, but let me ask, what are you doing at the moment? Are you following a particular course? Just within the few minutes that we have, if you don't have questions, you can just share what you are working on right now, or what are you doing to get involved. Hi, Emmanuel.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me, please? Okay.
We can hear you, Emmanuel.
I would like to ask. Okay, thank you so much. Like I mentioned earlier, I code in Python and with focus on data science, and but there's one concern I have, like what kind of projects do I need to have under my belt, as experience before I can say I'm ready for the industry? Okay, so what kind of project do I need to, maybe, have?
Yeah,
I've done all that. So I would like to know that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So one thing I can tell you is that there's so much that you can do to get yourself ready for the industry. All right. If you code in Python, if you have the knowledge of machine learning, if you have the knowledge of AI or other data science concepts, you can keep the ground running. There's a lot of data sets on the internet. For example, one of the industry that is very robust when it comes to data science is the financial industry. All right. The Bank of America has data online that you can download and get your hands dirty with. If you go to Cargo, you will see a lot of data sets that you can, get involved in. And again, for example, one of the things you can do is you can curate your data set yourself through web scraping. All right. So there's so much you can do to get yourself involved. There's so much. Just all you just need to do is to find a problem you are passionate about, and then find a way to get your hands dirty with it. You will always need data, so you always find a way to get the data. All right. So there's for healthcare, you might not be able to get your hands on healthcare data because of how sensitive healthcare data can be. But one thing that you can do is areas that have data, you can continue to work on it. You can continue to see how other use cases are being developed. All right. And then it's you can start from there. But one thing I need to always say is that it's not just about building projects. All right. That's the projects that are relevant. That's the project that adds value. Because any industry you are looking to break into, any industry you are looking to work in, it has to be value. It has to be the value that is going to come first. All right. So you must be sure that whatever you're working on is going to be adding value. It must be something that maybe it's a problem that industry are currently working on. So that is why you must always be at the forefront of information. All right. So Emmanuel, I don't know whether that answers your question.
Yes, that helps a lot. Thank you so much.
All right.
Hello.
Yeah. How did you?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
For me, I was part of the Gradient Boost internship, so I got a job through it, and I'm currently working in a data team, and it's been fun and tasking sometimes. But yeah, currently now I currently taking the Google Data Analytics certification course just to get more familiar with the basics and to get more familiarity with how to think analytically and the way we view things in the data world. And so upon getting the job and working through all these things, I realized that, okay, there are some things you need to know. There are some other things. So through this data analytics course by Google, a lot of knowledge on this, and it's been helping. And from doing that, even when I'm done with it, a machine learning roadmap, and that is where my journey is. So
thank you very much, Ayodeji, for that. So Ayodeji is one of those that just passed through Gradient Boost. And Ayodeji, I'm happy to hear that you're already doing awesome with your work. Congratulations. And then another thing that I want to just touch on, I saw a question on the chat. Fatima is asking that without a formal background in data science, how would one get into this field? Sorry, Real One, do you want to say something? Hello, Real One. Sorry, I think yeah, okay. So sorry, Emmanuel, I think it might be a spam account. You might want to remove the participant. If the person really wants to join, the person will join back. Right. And yeah. So Fatima, like I said, I didn't have a formal background in data science. My background is in engineering. And I know I have some background in statistics. I did a bit of computer science when I was in school. I did a lot of mathematics when I was in school. But at the same time, I understand where you are coming from. A lot of job opportunities out there requires an IT background, all right? But this is something I always tell people, all right? There is something that is important. It's not always about the IT background. It's always about the value that you're about to add, all right? There are some CVs that recruiters will see and they'll be willing to get the person on an interview, not because they have an IT background, but because of what they've done. All right. So one way you can help yourself is to have those skills. For example, my advice to anybody that wants to break into data science is that you need to get your hands on the basics. For example, SQL. If you are looking to work in any enterprise environment that you know that they keep records of customers, it is likely that record is being kept in a database. And one way you can interact with the database is using SQL. So that means there's nothing you can do without, you need to know how to use SQL, all right? Even though your dream is to become a data scientist or a machine learning engineer, one way of getting your feet into the industry is SQL, Python, and maybe a visualization tool. Another point I want to make is that there is something that puts everybody on a level playing ground. It's certification, all right? We have some industry recognized certifications like from Microsoft, from Google, from AWS. One way you can put yourself at the forefront of this competition is getting certified, all right? So you need to start by getting experience, getting the skills, taking courses, all right? Getting your hands dirty with projects, all right? And then at the same time, going ahead and, being at the forefront by getting certified, maybe from Microsoft, from AWS, or from any industry recognized body. All right, so that's one way you can really help. It's not always about the IT background. I understand that there are some positions that are always keen on people having maybe a PhD or even MSc. All right, I understand. But your question is about getting into the industry, all right? Entry-level positions. Entry-level position is not always big on, you must have an IT background, all right? Just ensure that you do the necessary thing, you have the skills, you have the required skills that are needed in getting that job done. And most likely SQL will be needed, all right? Python, visualization tools like Power BI, Tableau, and then from there you can start. Fatima, I hope that answers your question. Awesome. All right. I don't know whether we still have any question.
Hello, Mayowa.
Okay, Kakleho, I can hear you.
Yeah, yes, I heard you talking about SQL. I'm currently busy learning SQL, right? So the thing that I've seen, I'm not sure whether you know a website called naturalsql.com. It seems it's a website that teaches one. If you don't know maybe SQL, yes, they teach you how to do SQL. But what I've learned is that they on naturalsql.com, right? When you want to ask anything, you don't have to write a query. You just write a question, and then in that website, it will give you your query. So I just want to know, for a starter in SQL, is it really important for me to memorize all the queries, like select the days, insert the days, delete this? Is it really necessary for me to memorize those things? Or I can use programs like Natural SQL, to maybe find more information about my data. I'm not sure whether you understand my question.
Yeah, I understand your question. Thank you, Kakleho. Okay. That's a very important question. Yeah, I understand that we have websites that you just type in your business case, and then it returns in SQL queries what you need. All right. But one thing I want to say is that when you are really working on a business problem, there is a bit of restriction or there's a bit of limitation to what those websites can give you. All right. Why? Because there are cases where you need to do more than what the website has been designed to do. In such case, they won't be able to, that website will not be able to provide you with the right query. All right. So it still boils down to the fact that you need to get on your feet, you need to get your hands and let the required skills, the basic select statement, joins. All right. When you are joining two tables together, what do you need to do? All right. You need to understand some basic concept of SQL. So these things, you need to know it. It's good, it's okay if you want to investigate or probably review their approach of solving the problem you are trying to solve, but then it's still very important, all right, for you to have this basic knowledge, all right? And I'm very sure there are a lot of business cases, there are a lot of business usage. There are a lot of cases that will arise at your place of work that they won't be able to provide you with the right query. So it still boils down that you need to go back to learning the basic of SQL, which is very, very important. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, you answered my question. Thank you very much, Mayowa.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So can I say something?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, on the SQL thing, I think basically upon reviewing a lot of things, I've seen that the Google Analytics certification course is quite explanatory for beginners and entry level people that do not have any idea. They have tutors that explain things to you beginner friendly using case studies in a business pattern that will make you understand easily. And there are always hands-on labs that you can do whereby they're explaining it step by step to you. And also there's the Gradient Boost program where all these things can be learned. And I feel like when I think someone asked a question, no foundation, I also do not have a foundation in data analytics or data science. So I needed to go into it and putting all the dedication and all the work in and saying, yeah, I want to learn this, and going on in there is YouTube, the internet now is the hub of everything. So every simple thing we need is out there. It's just for us to just reach out. Like you said already, Google is our best friend so far. So learning the basics is key. I have learned this over time, even in my job right now. And the basics is very important. Knowing what data integrity is, simply all these things are very, very important. And it's not only to those that studied it as a course or anything. It's beginner friendly to anybody from any department or any field of study, basically. So feel free to jump in. Do not be scared. That's what I just out there.
Thank you, Ayodeji. Gradient Boost has a lot of interesting courses that you can jump on and take advantage of. So I think at this point, Emmanuel, Percy, do you have anything to say?
You get an email with more details on the courses we're going to be launching over the next couple of months. Other than that, there will be more office hours that are going to be on Fridays. We will let you know as those come up with different themes. If there are no other questions that anyone wants to ask, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend and enjoy the rest of your day. All right. Thank you, by the way. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.